And nobody is who they seem as Ronni, Ancola and co start their new series tomorrow night at 9:30 here on BBC One. And with a taster for you next. And Miriam Margolyes and Rupert Everett get saucy on the couch. It can only be The Graham Norton Show over on BBC Two next.
Brand new comedy.
Who are you?
I'm a dancer. I love to dance.
It's Ronni, Ancola and Co. Starts tomorrow at 9:30 on BBC One.
Let yourself go.
The epic new music series 780s of Rock continues with the Velvets, Floyd, Bowie and Roxy Music. Art Attack Rock, Saturday at 9:05 on BBC Two.
A clash of views likely on Question Time tonight when Alan Johnson, challenger for the deputy leadership of the Labour Party, meets Michael Heseltine, former Deputy Prime Minister, Bob Crow, left-wing leader of the RMT Union, Alison Pearson of the Daily Mail, and Martha Lane Fox, founder of lastminute.com. Make a booking with Question Time, BBC One 10:35 after the news.
This is BBC One for Kent and Sussex. Now the news at 10 o'clock with Hugh Edwards and John Young.
Penalty charges are on the cards for people who don't recycle their rubbish. Ministers want householders in England to get incentives for recycling and higher bills if they don't. They warn that something has to be done about the growing mountain of waste.
More and more people are concerned about living in a throwaway culture. This strategy gives people the tools to make a difference.
We'll be reporting on one family's efforts to meet the planned recycling targets. Also tonight, after 3 terror suspects go missing, ministers say the law needs to be even tougher. 3 weeks after the disappearance of Madeleine McCann, the family releases the last photo taken of her. And the record divorce payout stands. One of Britain's wealthiest men is told he must give 48 million to his former wife.
In 25 minutes, the gentleman taxi driver run over by his own car. A man is tonight under arrest. And the wife and mother from Newhaven who walked out after a row and hasn't been seen since.
Good evening. Householders in England could face extra charges if they fail to recycle their rubbish. Ministers say they will spend 3 months consulting the public on how to increase the amount of recycled waste. The Environment Secretary, David Miliband, also said that he wanted to tackle the tons of junk mail delivered to millions of addresses every day and to work towards ending the supply of free plastic carrier bags from supermarkets. First tonight, this report from James Landale.
Yes, that's right. It is Trafalgar Square, cleaner and greener than ever before, covered in grass to promote London's open spaces. Down the road today, the government was trying to be just as green, announcing radical new plans to cut not turf, but rubbish. Ministers want us to double the amount of rubbish we recycle over the next 15 years. And to keep us green, councils could, if they want, offer us financial incentives if we cut down on how much we throw away. But at the same time, there could equally be cash penalties if we don't recycle enough.
Action on waste can make an important contribution to tackling climate change and other environmental objectives. More and more people are concerned about living in a throwaway culture. This strategy gives people the tools to make a difference. It makes environmental sense and it makes economic sense.
So how will it work? Well, we might have to sort our waste into several recycling boxes: dry items, food products and garden refuse. And everything that's left over that can't be recycled, well, that could be weighed and identified as yours through a chip inserted in your wheelie bin. If you recycle lots, you could get a credit of as much perhaps as £50. But if you don't, you could be charged the same amount. So it could hurt, but it's not a new tax because the government said the scheme has to be revenue neutral. The government's having to act because there's pressure on landfill sites. Europe wants us to reduce by 2/3 the amount of rubbish we bury by 2020 because landfill generates methane, a damaging greenhouse gas. But not everyone thinks the government's got the right answer.
What it means in practice is more fly tipping, people putting rubbish in somebody else's bin so they
pay the charge. And when you've got flats, blocks of flats where there's communal bins, how on earth do you keep track? Where's the collective responsibility there?
The government's reply is that councils will be forced to crack down on fly tipping before they can use the incentives.
The government's treading carefully on an issue it knows can be as toxic for politicians as it can be for the guys that have to clear it up. Many voters think they pay more than enough council tax for their refuse collection, and that's why the government's talking about revenue-neutral incentives and not new taxes.
And as for those fortnightly collections, the cause of much anger around the country, look what happened here in Scunthorpe last year. Well, all the government could say today was that food waste might be best collected weekly, but it's really a decision for local councils. Ministerial caution for a reason.
So it looks pretty clear that certainly going down the road of fortnightly bin collections as a way of trying to encourage people to recycle is something that can cause local authorities quite a lot of political flack and at the end of the day cost them in the ballot box.
This beautiful square was once the scene of bloody riots against the poll tax. There's no bin tax to take its place, just charges for rubbish. Ministers think they're worth it, but they also know they're a risk. James Landell, BBC News, Westminster.
So how will people respond to the choice between recycling far more waste or paying penalty charges? The city of Bath has one of Britain's best recycling records, but even Bath falls short of the levels proposed by ministers. We asked one family to try out the kind of rigorous recycling regime that's being considered. John Kay reports now on how they got on.
Sarah Ellis is about to get a taste of the future.
Sarah.
Hi,
hello.
come on in, hi.
Hope you've got plenty of room.
For the next 3 days, she and her family will try to live up to the government's proposals, recycling pretty much everything.
And that's the nice one, slops. That's for your kitchen waste.
Yep,
okay,
fine.
I'll put that. And I'm also going to give you this.
Right, okay.
There you go, so you can keep a video diary.
Yeah. I'll do my best.
Good luck. Take care.
Okay.
Cardboard.
Right.
Plastic. Paper.
A jar, which obviously going to go in glass.
Sarah, her husband Matt and their 3 sons already recycle what the council will take away. But this is going to be more complicated. Apart from Greece and Portugal, British households are the worst recyclers in Europe. The boys enjoy the new regime and the boxes fill up very quickly.
Very good.
But there's one thing they're not too keen on. The government wants us to recycle our kitchen waste for compost or to create methane energy.
Disgusting.
But after 2 days, unwanted cat food and meal scraps are even less appetising.
It's a bit smelly. It's been a very hot day today, so...
Lots of flies, yeah?
There are a few flies, which is pretty grim.
And then there's the time it all takes. The boys have to sort through yesterday's lunchbox wrappers before they can get on with today.
Boys were late for school again. Sorry, teacher.
This afternoon, we went back.
So how's it gone?
It's fine, actually. There you go.
My goodness.
Only 3 days. And even for a keen Green family, it's been hard work. So could they be persuaded to follow the government's proposals long term?
If you were offered financial incentives or if you faced financial penalties for not doing it,
Yes.
do you think that would make you more likely to do it?
Yes, definitely. I don't think anyone would want to be penalised, really.
John Kay, BBC News, Bath.
Well, now let's go back to James Landell at Westminster. James, in the list of government priorities, where does this waste policy stand?
Well, in a long list of issues that the government is pouring out in this curious political period we're in, this interregnum between Tony Blair and Gordon Brown. This week alone we've had potentially tricky announcements on nuclear power, on road pricing, on changes to the planning laws, the U-turn over home improvement plans, and of course charging rubbish today. There's a real sense that the government's trying to clear the decks here, get out all these announcements, which are government policy and will remain government policy, but they all take place before Gordon Brown takes over, so they don't define the early stage of his leadership. They leave that a clear deck, if you like, for him to establish his own agenda once he takes over at the end of June.
All right, James, thank you very much. James Landell at Westminster. Britain may have to opt out of European laws on human rights. That's the warning that came from the Home Secretary John Reid, who said that he was planning tougher measures to restrict the activities of terror suspects. He's taking the action after 3 men suspected of plotting attacks went missing. They were being monitored under control orders, which Mr. Reid described as not even the second best option. Today, it emerged that one of the suspects had breached his order on a previous occasion. Daniel Sanford reports.
Fresh off the presses tonight, a wanted poster for the 3 missing terrorism suspects. It includes a new CCTV picture of one of them recorded on Monday. He'd shaved off his long hair. He'd breached his order before. This is his home in East London. No sign of him or his family today. A few miles away, the house where his fellow suspects lived. 2 brothers, also on terrorism control orders, also on the run. Neighbours say the 2 brothers were seen here at the family home in Barkingside 3 days ago. That would coincide with the last time they checked in at their local police station. Daily reporting there was a requirement of their control orders. One of the 2 has connections to a web of terrorism. He's Lamine Adam. For a start, he has another brother known as Anthony Garcia, who's serving life for planning to bomb Britain with fertiliser. Lamine also knew Omar Khayyam, the leader of that plot to kill hundreds of people, and Mohammed Junaid Barber, the Al-Qaeda supergrass who testified at the trial. The jury heard that Lamine sent equipment to Pakistan too for a training camp at Malakand. The camp was attended by the fertiliser plotters and the leader of the 7th of July attacks, Mohammed Sadiq Khan. Lamine himself wasn't put on.